Welcome back, everybody, to session 2 of the Crown of Autumn. We last left our travelers, the young Ithnakai scout, Gunnar, uh, on an errand for his king to investigate the disappearances of uh, other scouts, a party of scouts that possibly had been uh, slain in the wilds in active duty out in the field, and his trail has brought him to this tomb of this ancient. He has yet to find the identity of this ancient. Uh, this this tomb is littered with the corpses of strange black metal armed and armored individuals with skin as red as blood or as red as uh, autumn maple leaves, almost a fire type red, with the roars of uh, voices from across infinitely vast gulfs somewhere in the realm of spirits. He tramped through this tomb to find an icy holocaust left by a devastatingly horrible uh, act of sorcery. Gunnar rounds a corner to see four uh, figures, flash frozen, petrified in ice, in strange poses, possibly in the poses of spell casting or working some sorcery. And to see another figure garbed in the panoply of the tomb, wielding a staff of some unknown origin, gnarled, and at this moment smoking uh, the icy holocaust radiating from the staff armed apparition across the room beyond these four icy mummies, as the water of the well of this room in the center back third of this room rises up almost like a pillar like waterfall, bubbling and boiling as such, almost just oversized, man shaped, but pillar like, uh this apparition of water rising there stands possibly a head or so taller than Gunnar himself, as these two figures uh, stare at each other in the gloom. The ice of this subterranean uh, winter hellscape glimmers this eerie blue as the stone, it's seeming some kind of strange uh, quartz crystal wrapped in and vine workings caps this ancient and gnarled staff, kind of giving it this cool glow. That is the only light source in this room. The next instant is these two entities feeling a rush of dark, malevolent wind from behind the icy sorcerer near the back hallway. Figures apparitions pour forth from this doorway as like a torrent of howling spirits. Uh, uh, Ghostly foot soldiers pour through this opening uh, to fall upon these four icy mummies. And with blades from the realm of the dead, they hack these mummies to bits, spattering ice and blood and dust. One such apparition pours forth from this doorway. An unarmed apparition darts around the sorcerer to deliver a beautiful kick. A kick that the apparition leaves the ground with this flying acrobatic whirlwind to bring its heel down on the forehead of this leading mummy, and the mummy's corpse shatters into icy dust. And that next horrible, nightmarish instant, Gunnar sees these apparitions flooding towards him. They do not stop. They pour past him. If Gunnar had ever once served in any form of uh, military service, he would see that a number of them actually stack with their shields on one side of the door. They stack up on one side of the door for like defense or laying siege to a building. Uh, these ghosts, these spirits, secure the room and the hallway beyond, and you would guess without looking behind you, they within seconds possibly secure the rest of the tomb. And there you are, left in silence in that icy chamber as the brief combat dies away to the silence of the tomb, and the two of you stare at each other in the dark. How do you wish to proceed?
Quick scene clarification. The mummies, before they were destroyed, the ice frozen bodies,
Yes.
uh, did they look like they could have been uh, Ithnikai, or were they more of these red skin people that I found? What were they? What could I tell they were, or maybe I couldn't?
Um, None of them were of your tribe, of your kinsmen, the Ithnikai, and none of them were actually of these red-skinned entities. Two of them were actually uh, of some mixed ancestry, and two of them were uh, specifically, you could tell that two of them were of the cannibal tribe. Um, your people's hereditary enemy, the cannibal, the Mangorgosh people that worship dark gods, eat other humans and live somewhere in the wastes towards the inner world. Uh, the two mixed race individuals, uh, possibly they were of a different alien tribe, or possibly even with a dash of Fey ancestry. That's all that you could see before everything went dark and pulpy, icy pulpy. A mess on the floor. Does that answer
Got
your
it.
question?
Yes. So
Perfect.
Pinar will steady himself and draw up his sword with both hands and addressing the figure across from him. Sorcerer, If you've got plans for your dark magic, they will die here. You
Does
will
he?
be returned to this tomb.
What is he speaking in?
Ithnikai.
Uh, the figure wrapped in the shawl and the shroud of the dead kind of gives you this blank stare and this little bit of a head cock. Like, the hell are you gibbering on about?
I'm pretty sure your character, well, at least in a previous life, could speak and or understand Nemersian. He's of that tribe, but that's the language that they speak. He's just speaking
Oh,
a different
it
dialect.
actually is, oh, it actually is Nemersian. Okay. Oh,
He is a Nemersian of the Ithnakai tribe. They speak a slightly different dialect.
okay. Never mind. We will redact that last 10 seconds then. um, in that case, uh, he'll look at you, and then he'll look at the shattered bodies that are on the ground now, the blood and ice seeping wherever the cracks may lead it, and no, the dread stuff is done. And with like one hand, he'll kind of like point around. You missed that part.
I am on a mission from the king of the Ithnakai, and I seek to give safety and succor to the scouts that he had sent out. If I find that you have caused them harm, this blade will be in you.
How does Gunnar look?
Nar is black hair, bronze skin, 6'6", um, massive, but young. Looks like 20, 21 years of age. Dressed in cold weather clothes with a cave bear cloak. Blah. Um, you see him with bronze greaves and the war sword, and just like a backpack.
Narrator, do I still have that aura of like cold and ice about me, or has it kind of died down since everything?
Have you dissipated it with your will? I don't know, sorcerer, you tell me. The stave in your hand still hums, if that's what you if that helps. Just like this low, constant thrumming,
Right. Uh, no,
like a
because it
haunting singing.
right. Which he's probably just like vibing to, knowing him anyway, so it's fine. Um, no, after the expulsion of Will earlier, it probably would start to taper down just because he knows how low he is uh, on his reserves. As Gunnar says this though about if you laid harm to the scouts, um, he'll he doesn't chuckle, but he gets a smirk, and he'll look at Gunnar.
As you realize he is your relief force.
Right? And he's gonna look at Gunnar and be like, "Did you get descriptions of any of them, or was there only one group sent?"
There were multiple groups sent, but the one that I have been tracking with the latest obviously traveled with an ogre.
Damn it, he went down too, huh?
There's been signs from these months that they've been missing that their number has fallen, and you best hope it not be from you.
Was okay. Was Gunnar given descriptions of the party in question that he is looking for? I can't remember or not.
I,
Or was Gunnar just told like race and number?
Let me give you some insight.
I'm trying to play this scene off right without screwing it up.
yeah.
No, no, no.
I'm
You're
right there, I'm right there with you.
and I'm trying to make it organic because Thriven has been dead for 4 months. What would he remember? Make me
Well, what I'm
make
asking is, was Gunnar given the actual like description of the scouts he was looking for? So like,
description
like
of you guys? No, he was not given a description.
okay,
He was told that you guys went to the Suncrest Valley.
okay,
You may or may not, it's really up to you, remember from your previous life that you were the only party of scouts that were sent to that area.
Hmm.
So he may or may not have needed a description at all.
Okay.
Allegedly, you were the only one sent to that area. That is all he knows. That is all you know.
Okay, that works.
So
That works.
you do
Once
it
once
however you
again,
wish.
yeah. Once again, as Gunnar kind of gives him the threat. Thybon will actually he'll walk around the water elemental. Will walk around the well. He'll give his respect to the elemental as he goes. Give him his thanks. And he'll actually walk up to Gunnar and he's like, "Child, I was in it. Move aside,
Prove,
please."
prove it.
How? I have nothing on me. I have been dead.
That makes no sense.
You're telling me. I just woke up, what, minutes ago, apparently.
What did you do with the body of your companion who passed?
I was down by a troll first.
How many trolls?
Was it 3 of them, I believe?
And how many were killed?
I took the first hit of that battle. I have no idea. I stood steadfast and got literally driven into the ground for it. My golden blood might still be dried up there.
Gunnar is going to take a step back and kind of relax his stance a bit so he's not as threatening. That tracks with something I've come across. But that battle was months ago. Those trolls are all but decayed. Where have you been?
He'll actually point back the opposite direction. Buried.
Buried alive?
No, no, I was dead.
Then what of the other scouts?
I'm assuming if you are looking for them, the rest of them have died as well, or they are lost. And the party I was with wouldn't really seem the type to get lost easy.
So tell me, what was your mission?
What was the last thing that he remembered? You can narrate that battle if you like. It's probably one of the better fights that we've had.
The last thing he would have remembered is, I'm actually trying to remember this myself for a moment. Give me a second here.
Very organic. Very organic.
Yes, right. And you'll actually see him stand there, and he'll almost get that like 1,000-yard stare.
Yeah, I am watching him.
Almost as if he's trying to piece. For the moment, if you look at him, he is looking through you. Like you do not exist at the moment. And he just stands there for a second. Narrator, out of curiosity, because I'm close to the doorway, can I see any of the primordial bodies?
No.
Okay, good. I don't have to reference them then.
Beyond this, beyond this doorway is actually a staircase that goes up.
Okay.
And there's no corpses at the bottom of that stairway.
As he's getting ready to speak, hold on, Mike. As he's getting ready to speak, I do have one level in premonition.
Yes.
And I'm gonna be studying him.
I love it. I love it.
Make me a premonition test, Terry. Please do.
Go ahead. Do it. As you're doing that, he'll speak up. We were tracking down a lieutenant, a primordial
19.
lieutenant.
Nice. Continue, Mike, and I'll do his
tracking down a primordial lieutenant, and led us to the tomb. Outside of said tomb was the group of trolls that we already spoke of. I think we were looking for a sword. Looking for magical artifacts. The primordials want all these magical artifacts. Because they're doing, and it's kind of like rushing back. He's like, because we found a ritual site that was 1 of 5 to 1 of 5. If that makes sense. It's 5 little ones, 5 little ritual sites that made a big ritual site that was part of 5 big ritual sites. They were gathering a lot of stuff. And we were tracking them down. And he blew up one of my friends with red lotus dust back in the swamp. And that fucking cannibal bitch took out our guide. He's kind of rambling on now if you can't notice. Then we saw the trolls. I died at the trolls. And then I got the gash from waking up. And he'll actually point to his forehead.
And the bodies of your companions weren't around you when you woke up from your tomb?
No. Not that I saw anyway. The spirits would have told me that part, I think, if they were there.
There wasn't a niche big enough for an ogre corpse in there.
There's that too. Yeah. No, it's just me. Which means maybe they put me in there. Can I go see the sun, please? It's
All
been a
right,
while.
narrator. Premonition.
Uh, you get a profound feeling of uh someone who doesn't mean you any harm, uh, who's very tired, uh, and they they're very confused trying to piece bits and pieces of events that they were a part of back together, and there's a deeper conspiracy there that has uh unfortunately nice big holes in it that he desperately wants the answers to, but with a palpable undertone of uh like a bloodthirsty revenge. Someone did something to wrong this individual, and like it's right there, and given time they'll find their way, but right now it's there's a lot going on. You get the impression that this person is not someone, not a common person.
On a scale in my mind of 1 to 10 of him speaking the truth about what he's saying and being part of the scout party, where am I at?
You're about a 9. You're pretty sure with the conviction there. Uh, it's pretty palpable.
Okay. All right. I'll once again back off, defensively a bit and sheathe my sword. But Mike, go ahead and describe your character because I don't think that we got into that a little bit.
No, and it's also because he's basically in the clothes of the dead too. Thybon is I want to say he stands about 5'8", 5'9". Um, I don't know if you could see it through the hair, but you can probably see the spot where his horns were. There's now just kind of holes there. He's got the only way I could really describe his hair is dirty colored, probably from just sitting in the tomb for 4 months. They reach down to about shoulder length. He has numerous runes and tattoos along whatever skin you could see. I'm assuming that the vestiges of ink is gone from his fingers from everything. Correct, narrator? He doesn't have any of that left over, like ink
How
stains or
how
anything.
how do you mean?
Well,
Did
because
did
he's
did Serban have tattoos?
yeah,
Did
but he
he?
but he also had corruption, which is why he started getting the inky fingers at one point.
Uh,
I
uh,
didn't know if like the stains stick around even after he's been cleansed, or is that just go away completely?
no, you don't have corrupted fingertips anymore. Do you remember that you had the cleansing with the old priest in, God, was it actually in Hawthorne? Did
I
you
think it
guys
was
go to?
actually in Hawthorne. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I couldn't remember if like just like the staining of it sticks around or not, but that's fine. Um,
Any degenerations that you initially had are still there, but your temporary and permanent uh shadow sickness are gone. I sent you a brief recap in chat of what happened after you were slain.
right. You know, Cybone also, he's a Dawn Fairfolk. If you dealt with Fairfolk in general, so he has that almost. He literally looks like he has bark for skin. Um, though it looks. Only way I can describe it is that it doesn't look clean anymore. It looks.
Hey, Mike,
Yes.
Arborians have bark for skin. You have flesh.
Do I? Oh,
Yes, you
that's
have
right.
flesh. You have flesh. You're
That's
just
right.
you're just really yellow tanned.
Yeah, yeah, that's right. I see. It's been too goddamn long. I'm trying
Yep.
to remember this stuff. Okay, so yeah, so yeah, like he said, really, really yellowish, like that type of skin. Um, and yeah, he looks half bewildered and half just bone tired now. Especially because everything's kind of like flooding back. Um, he probably doesn't look the healthiest of weight considering he's been laying in a tomb for 4 months. Um, but he has like that old man strength going for him right now when he holds that staff. Like you can probably see like uh the muscles and the tendons kind of tighten up whenever he grasps the thing. Um, I will say, especially once he walks up the stairs, he probably will put one hand on the wall as since he expelled everything in the previous room that bone tiredness just sets in a little bit. Um, but
Are
yeah,
you
other
guys
than that,
actually going back upstairs?
well, he asked Gennard to move aside because he wants to go see the sun again.
Okay.
Uh, so if Gennard is moved out of the way, yes, he would start to go up the staircase.
I'm going to before we do that, I'm going to shed off my backpack really quick, and I'll pull out that what did I get? Snow leopard pelt,
Okay.
and toss it to him and say, "You're gonna need this." And then put my backpack back on and move aside so he can go out. I want to be from behind then.
He'll take it and he'll be like, "Did winter finally show up? Is it that cold out now?"
It's been months since they've missed you. The trolls were in a state of decay.
Didn't answer the question though.
It is cold.
Has winter come back?
No.
Okay. He'll put the pelt over top his shoulders and he'll start to climb up.
The
When
world
when
is
when when you say no, he almost gets that like that slump to his shoulders of like resignation of fuck.
Hence that greater conspiracy that I referenced earlier.
the world is tired and angry.
How long have you been searching?
Um, what 1.5 uh cycles? Chains. Sorry, that was metagaming. Me trying to think of weeks.
Oh, you're
Right,
good. You're good.
right.
I know what you mean if you say week. I also know what you mean when you say year.
Right. Chain and cycle. It's okay.
Trying to stay.
Right. Yes.
Yeah, and Thybone, he'll just nod to that. Um, to be completely honest, as he's going up the stairs, you're kind of like backburnered in his brain right now. So he's just focused on getting up and out because he has not felt fresh air and sunlight on his face and chains.
And as he's headed up and out, I'm turning around and just making sure that nothing is following us. Just using my observation and senses to make sure that we're not going to get attacked from the rear. And I'll follow him up.
Besides the numerous ghosts, no, nothing is following you. Which they do not look pleased. They all have the war face. This is what we play for. Kind of expression on their spectral faces, which is
They seem to be staying back and they're not doing anything aggressive.
They're probably going
currently,
everywhere.
yeah.
Which, like, if you're not following him, he will stop probably like halfway up the stairs and be like, "Child, the spirits have it. We just defended the tomb."
That's fair enough. But you can stop calling me that.
What do I call you?
Benar.
All right, Gunnar. Nothing's going to follow you. That's where we held them off. Well, actually, that's where they held them off.
There's bodies up here that were here when I arrived. They've got curious red skin and some equipment. If there's anything that you need that you can take off of them, have at it. I've got food with my mount at the mouth of the tomb.
Do not burn those bodies and do not breathe in the smoke.
Sorry, I'm
What
not here.
about the black armor and weapons? Strange black metal.
It is strange black metal. It's strong metal too.
One of these creatures, whatever they are, had a sword that was broken. I'm going to take the pieces with me on the way out. I'm kind of curious to ask about it.
Can't remember. Did we actually figure out what that metal was called, or is that a mystery to even our party?
I think that was a mystery even to you guys.
Okay. Like as the player, I know what it is, but I didn't remember if the character did or not. Yeah,
It's really strange because Thybin knows what Eben is. He has a few or had a few colleagues that were Umbriads, and the Umbriads showed up several months before you passed away. Uh, and they're clad head to toe in it. Uh, but the primordial kit has an iridescent blue glitter to it. So you don't feel comfortable calling it Eben because Eben doesn't have a sheen to it.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever the primordials are doing to whatever that is gives it a sheen. And that's both magical and not magical that you have found in your experience. So you want to call it Eben, but it's not quite right. And your character is probably a little bit more accurate than not. So
Yeah.
he probably doesn't want to call it anything that he's familiar with.
Yeah, no. But yeah, no. As Gunnar mentions, trying to take the blade, and Thybon he'll just he'll actually give like a wry, dry chuckle at that and be like, "Good luck finding someone who can deal with it. I think only they know how to deal with it." Um, yeah, no. As they walk past, they see the bodies. Thybon would actually kick a couple of them, like in the head, curse
Ouch.
and curse and spit at the bodies.
Uh, you see a cannibal corpse floating in uh the I'm referring to as the pond room because it has a waterfall and it drains, you assume, probably into the lake above. Uh it's not female, it's male. Uh Only one of the mummies was female, and you know which female I'm talking to, and she's not present. She's not here. Uh but Skyside, you are reintroduced to the beauty of the setting sun. Zabraxian uh, goes to his slumber for the evening. You feel the warmth of Zabraxian on your skin. Uh, Thybon, uh, or in a previous life, Somanos, was not a sun worshipper, but he certainly could appreciate the power, the majesty, and the beauty of the Sun Devil. But uh, you see the last, I'm gonna say 20 minutes of the sunset, and if you want to have a soliloquy here, you may. Your first sunset of your next life.
All right. So yeah, when he gets topside, he gets sunside, and he feels that. He feels the rays in his face. He just stands there, literally just soaking it in. Um, his eyes are closed. He takes in like that deep breath, like someone who's been breathing in stale air for too long of a day, stuffed in the office, stuffed in a bunker or whatnot. And you get to go out and actually breathe circulating fresh air again. And actually, I wonder if he does. Yeah, he does. If Gunnar is paying attention, he'll actually see him start to cry. And it just, for that, probably that entire 20 minutes, Thybon won't move. Um, he's going to take in what little sun he can for the first time in months, brush off the cold of the tomb, and then kind of the enormity of what is left to be done has probably hit him. And while he has you now, he realizes that he is once again alone. And then you wouldn't know this part, of course, but then his mind will actually go back um, to his sect, to his coven, and for a brief moment, even though he knows it's futile, for a brief moment, he'll try to reach out to him because he's
Make me an
hoping that
occult test, please. And continue. Nice.
because he's hoping against hope that nothing has befallen them. Just a straight occult test.
Yeah.
Okay. 16.
Okay. As you were. As you as you attempt to reach out there, uh I'm gonna enter like I'm gonna add this to your soliloquy. Uh the the will and the presence of all of the trees, as Dawn Fairfolk, in a different fashion, are attuned to uh trees, not like dryads are. They're a different kind of tree spirit. You do not have the same life cycle as other mortals uh, do. And your will reaches past the place where your party visited uh, that village called Bryn, and uh, a knifing pain slashes at you as you remember the night that Ukion slew Shihan, thinking that Shihan was Endukaga. And I'm going to leave that there with you.
He, as the sun finally sets, Thybon will open his eyes. You go look at Gunnar. I don't know how much longer I can do this. This is not my first time. I'm afraid now this won't even be my last time. But I swear on everything, right here and right now, Endukaga will die.
Do I recognize the name?
No, you do not. Again, more of that greater conspiracy.
Yeah, he seems sincere, so I just shrug my shoulders. Wizards.
You know how I mentioned the ritual inside a ritual, Gunnar?
Yeah.
We take care of Endukaga, all of this gets fixed. Well, maybe not fixed, but hopefully moves forward.
Are you talking about with the sea people?
Sea people are being duped. And Dukaga has their deity. At least I'm hoping she's still alive. You say you were sent by your king?
Correct. Yes.
Oh. Might I suggest we go report back then?
With the obvious damage you took to your head, we might wish to build a fire and camp here if you think this is safe. I've got rations. You might as well start working on your strength. We're not going to get far in the dark.
Yeah, we can probably stay tonight. then we have to make haste. Every
I
moment
agree.
we tarry is another moment he gets further along.
You were my mission, or your party was my mission, and so by bringing you back safely, I am servicing my king. So my liege. Uh, with that, he's gonna go tend to horse, see how he wasn't gone for all that long, but make sure that horse is all right. And unstrap some rations and hand it to him. And then I'll go about starting to build a fire.
Horse, you discover him is or was sleeping under a fir tree. As you get close, he stirs, sniffs at you, and he lays back down when you find that he is not what you're actually after, but the packs that he wears regularly next to him. And he just lays back down. And you will notice his breathing pattern will change when he goes back to sleep.
All right. Safe and sound. That's all I cared about.
Oh yeah. Thyvan, when you see the campfire, the evening campfire being lit, the hunger of a previous lifetime hits you, and you are suddenly fucking ravenous. And but there's you're kind of pushing yourself emotionally with all the things that have happened, and with these next several months that are going to happen. This revenge that you've been nursing, or is beginning to kindle, slowly turns into an almost Count of Monte Cristo type of obsession there. And as you eat, you feed yourself for that evening, the spirits of the trees reach out to you in supplication. And again, with that exhausted, angry tiredness, the trees with their autumn-colored leaves, and they're not able to drop them. The screaming and the pleading in agony tears at you. And that drives that revenge deeper in you. How do the two of you wish to proceed for that evening?
I'll eat, but I'm also just kind of sensing everything that's around, make sure that nobody is creeping, watching. But I'm also kind of keeping one eye on the odd wizard. He seems to be lapsing into fits at times.
You spy just before you guys are getting ready to bed down for the evening. Corpses in the underbrush. Gnar, you take a few moments, you pause. You smell the distant scent of death. You follow your nose to that underbrush, and you find an ogre corpse, a bearded folk corpse, and a fair folk corpse. Uh, all have been picked clean by scavengers. There's no signs of battle here. They seemingly all sat down and died of their wounds and just laid down and just expired.
I'm kind of holding a torch up to see it by and moving things aside with my sword and looking. I holler back to the wizard. I've just spotted some corpses here that I missed on my way in. One's an ogre.
With the line of curses, that would probably make a sailor blush. Thightbone will get up and come over to where Gunnar is and be able to identify two of the three. He didn't really know Barrel. And he doesn't really know what to do now because now he knows for a fact that he's alone. Well, you wondered where the rest of the scouting party was. Proof enough for you, Gunnar?
If this group was indeed the ones who took down the three trolls, they must have been a formidable foe.
We could be when we need it to be. You have a shovel or a spade on you?
I do not.
I don't want to leave them out, but we have no way of burying them right now.
If you want, we could at least set the remains on the inside of the tomb.
Gonna have to work. Can you handle the big one? Referring to the ogre.
I can try. I can't guarantee that it won't come apart in pieces.
Well, these guys are mostly skeletal at this point. If much of the skeleton is still present, they've been picked clean by scavengers. There's a pile of bones with rags attached to them. I don't know if that's worth your while at all. If Thibin has been dead for 3.5, almost 4 months, then they died a handful of days after you. So
yeah, so it's been like 3.5 months.
Very advanced state of decay.
All right.
Do they look like they have equipment, or did they have equipment?
At one time, they did. There's even a log. You assume it's a log with oxidized bronze spikes coming out of one end next to the ogre. What do you guys want to do?
Yeah, no, Thybun's still gonna put the bones inside the tomb. It would be kind of an injustice to his friends to leave their bones out
Okay.
to be gnawed upon some more.
I'll help him. I don't see any harm in that. Um, Gunnar is gonna kind of keep an eye out on what equipment falls off of these things, though. If this was a party of scouts, if there's anything he sees, he's
Yeah.
just gonna kind of look out for inventory. Let's put it that way.
Okay.
Which Thybun will basically, whatever rags are there, he'll try to like grab them as like a one person a pile, so to speak. And try not to like, make the bones clatter together or anything. So
Just
however long.
Okean was Okean was wearing a cloak, so you can turn him into a bag.
Yeah.
So and I'm pretty sure Halfir was also wearing a cloak, so an even bigger bag.
Yeah, right.
Uh Inventory wise, Ukion was actually wearing a carved wooden breastplate uh that you could possibly fit into Gunnar if you really wanted to. Uh it's oh my goodness. I think carved wood is considered heavy armor when your leather hauberk is considered medium. I don't know how you feel about going up an armor stage, but that's up to you.
Um, no, I won't take it. I kind of look at it and look at him, and probably not worth it.
But with that, the previous scouts interred in their I'll just say you guys probably entombed them where Thibon was, and ogre bones are significantly smaller than ogre corpse, so you can just like pile Halfir into a niche or what's left of him, and that yeah, well, I just
Sounds so horrible when you say it out loud.
well, I mean, tell me I'm fucking wrong.
You're not.
Takes
I'm just saying.
takes up significantly less space that way. Uh, but no. Oh shit, excuse me. That was yeah, no, that was very nice. Um uh I guess you guys lay bed down for the evening and set out at dawn the next fucking day. Uh we will reconnoiter to uh the the military encampment at the Tarandine River. Uh
Before we get that far,
yeah.
I'm gonna follow back the path, but I'm going to kind of purposely take him by the battle scene of where the troll corpses were, and then watch his reaction. As we're gonna,
Uh-huh.
Boys trying to give me PTSD over here. What the fuck?
Oh my gosh, Terry. Quit being
what's
a
the
cock.
wizard?
Fucking asshole.
What's
What's
the
the
wizard
wizard?
do?
No, joking aside, if you take us back there, um, he will actually look where he fell, and I'm assuming like that patch of dried golden blood is still there.
Yeah, yellow gore, man. You are a fucking blood spatter.
Yeah. And if you really want him to, Terry, he will actually walk you through that first, 5 minutes of battle before he got slammed down. And he will go, they were here. He stood here. I want to say he was in front of Ukion. and how
Yep.
Thier was getting ready to come up the swing with that giant ass club of his.
Uh, Play by
And
play of that last battle.
And, and
That troll slew Thybin, and then the trolls quickly got their asses handed to them. Like it was seconds. It was they retaliated very quickly.
depending on what happened, there might actually still be shards of some rusted material in the same spot. Because his shield, I'm pretty sure, took a couple pieces of it off.
Was his
so this
shield made of wood or was it actually made of fey iron? I
It
can't
was
remember.
Fey Iron,
Oh
but
wow, Jesus.
he had basically braced the shield into the ground, and when he got slammed, the shield went into him. So,
Okay. Okay.
but yeah, Thybin he'll kneel down and actually put his fingers on his own blood splatter.
What were you saying, Terry?
so
Sorry, we cut you off.
no. So that this gold tinge, that's from you.
It is.
Hmm. I couldn't tell what that was.
Yep. This is where I died.
So the funeral pyre, do you have any recollection of who that was?
As a player, I do not.
I don't remember either. Uh, Part of me thinks it was Alan's character who was uh Mike. You never gamed with Alan, I don't think. That was Grant's cousin.
Okay.
He gamed with us for like a week,
Mm,
or excuse me, a month. It was like 3 or 4 sessions.
yeah.
But no, that was something different. But anyway, uh, with that, if we're ready to reconnoiter to
Yes.
encampment, uh, so you guys make good time. Make good time in just under a chain, 9 days. Uh, as civilization comes back to Thybin, uh, you see a great many Dawn Fairfolk who you don't recognize any faces, but you recognize your kinspeople. Uh, the Ithnikai king Thorondin, as well as many of his officers. Uh, you find out that Orncath, the High King of the Dawn Fairfolk, was actually slain in battle. Uh, about a month after you died. Uh, it's surprising that when your spirit left the realm of the living, you did not find his spirit in that place in between. Uh, but Orncath had been slain by the Sea People. The king of the Bearded Folk, or the Dark Elves, has not shown up yet. The War Queen, Fetef Doom, of the Umbriads, is here with all of her legions. She called up everything of the underworld, and there is an abundance of ebon and infantry. All Goth. All Goth. Every single one of them is a Goth. Pale skin, black hair, black armor. with their tower shields and tridents for fishing, of course, fishing for mortals.
Yes, knights
Uh,
were a trend, I swear.
yeah, it's the Umbria Destroyer, as it's called, is has become the backbone of the coalition forces infantry, and they know how to fight in the dark because they see in the dark, which is a nightmare to the sea people because they are mortal men who are kind of night blind uh, as human beings or near human beings to Arklanar standards. Don't see as well as in the dark. Umbriads are not nocturnal, but they have natural night vision, and they can absolutely decimate the opposition at night. But the sea people have realized to heavily fortify their encampments when they all go to sleep, and they fight really dirty during the day, and they tend to do or perform raids during the day when the Umbriads are supposed to be sleeping. So both sides have begun to adapt to the other's fighting style, and it's gotten extra bloody. As you see this Festival of Nations, about a dozen and a half mortal tribes, the vast majority of them are Nemersian, but of different tribes of these people. There are no cannibals on your guys' side, of course. From what you understand, the cannibals are actually one of the many slave races of the primordials. And to your knowledge, you and your people were the only ones who actually knew about the primordials aside from the top brass of uh, the coalition forces. And it was your guys' job to do the advanced recon on the primordials because they have been very, very quiet about their operations while this side war is going on. You return to the command tent, and the kings and queens, the nobility, the flower of the coalition forces nobility is there, and a sorcerer garbed in the panoply of the tomb, pale and I'm gonna say somewhat disheveled. You've cleaned yourself up better than the way Gunnar found you, and the two of you walk into the scene, and it's a typical war room scene. How do you wish to proceed?
I need to see my king, ruler of the Ithnika.
Uh, Thorondon actually looks up from the table, sees you from across the way, and he just holds up his hand to you. Uh, not, not, if that's not a come here, that is, I see you.
I salute and then just take a posture of attention, just waiting.
Terry, your phone is vibrating
Oh,
through the speaker.
Thybun is actually looking for his king. I'm assuming he does not know of his death yet, since they haven't talked to anyone.
You heard rumors of Orncath being slain, but I'm gonna say you didn't want to believe it. But when he is not there and his throne is empty, it hits you. There's actually a black cloth thrown over his throne.
Which I would know as he's not
He is
coming
not
back.
he is not with us, and there is no heir. Uh, Orncath does not have children. Uh, so imagine like the ancient power vacuum that the High King is dead, and think of like Terry, you might get this. You'll actually appreciate this reference. Uh, Irish mythology, like you have all these smaller, like Irish chieftains and lesser kings, and now that the big boss is gone, each one of them is fuck's sakes. The Woodland Kingdoms are going to find civil war again, and fuck. That's all we're gonna say.
Oh,
Right.
it's it's like the mid season of Game of Thrones all over again.
Kinda, yeah, but like with fairy trickery and yes, awful. There you go, Mike.
Right.
There you go. You're actually not part of that game. You are a okay. He's a priest. He's a hierophant, right? His
hmm
background is priest.
hmm
Hey, you're religious or spiritual. I believe the term for them is secular, right?
Non-secular is religious.
Non-secular is religious. So yeah, no, you are more a spiritual leader. They are a secular uh or earthly uh entity. Obviously, pay respects to your high king, but you're not going to be participating in that. Actually, I shouldn't say that. You can participate in that if you really want to.
In the power struggle, yeah.
Oh, but cool. Hey man, play your character. I that just dawned on me. I'm like, that'd be kind of cool. But hey, play your character. No, I'm not here. I'm not here.
And now there is like shit.
Not, no, I'm
No,
not. I'm not like that at all. That would be
no,
a very interesting.
no. And in all honesty, Tyburn's never had any want of politics. He's always hated politics. He's always thought they're drawn out and the people higher up don't know what the hell they're talking about. Um, Neither here nor there though. Um, seeing the black cloth, he will walk up to the throne and doesn't really care who he has to walk in between, in front of, or through. And he will kneel and pay his respects and uh, probably say a prayer to the silent monolith to make sure his spirit is taken care of. He'll probably stay there for a good couple minutes though too, because it's just been revelation after revelation after revelation the past chain, and he just wants to go back to bed now. He's fucking tired. It's
You know, I was
death
watching
and mayhem. So
Bernard's watching all this, and as long as he doesn't leave the tent, then he'll just let him do what he needs to do. But the moment he tries to step back outside, no, we've got business in here.
The kings and a couple of the queens, uh, they don't conclude their meeting, but there's a lull, and Thorondon uh like catches your eye from across the room, and he like catches your eye and like points with his beard at uh Thyvan there, and like with his eyes gives you Is that it? Kind of like with an iron gray eyebrow. That's exactly what that expression. It raises his eyebrow, and that is the thought that is spoken to you.
I just give him a slight nod.
He frowns. Uh, and you get this the king has this 1,000-yard stare, like he's looking at Thibin. He's like trying to place who this guy is. He's looking at him. He's kneeling before the throne of the mourning throne of Owen Cath there. And he's like, who the fuck is this guy? And then
It's
it
probably about
dawns.
that time that Tywin probably stands up and turns around. So
And it's at that point where he like sees him. He turns, actually half see like his profile, and he's like, "Oh, oh." It's kind of like a soft, audible. Mm. It doesn't say anything this whole time. Just kind of bites his lips and just nods, and kind of like does that like kingly thing of actually not one of my subjects, so I'm going to let his people deal with him. And then he points with his two fingers at Gnar and does like the finger curl.
I snap to attention and attend to him.
He he pulls you, and I am pulling. He walks away a few steps from the table, and he says, "Do you know who that is?"
A wizard?
Oh, he's a wizard. Yes. Uh, he's one of the Fae's best. Uh, I think I knew him as Silmanos. He was a hierophant of his own grove. He had his own people. He's one of the high priests of the Silent Monolith. Where did you find him?
He was attacked by trolls and talks about being wounded in the head. Uh, Claims he's come back from the dead. I suspect he's been unconscious. His friends put him in a tomb to die. I
Ah,
have a map, and I present the writing materials that they gave me and point out some of the landmarks and says, "This is where the tomb was."
he he puts his finger on the page. He says, "This here."
Yes.
He picks up that piece of paper and he brings you over to the big table. He lays that piece of paper down, and with his right hand, he puts his finger on that spot, and he goes to the larger map, and you actually see a rather accurate, very, very nice, very beautifully done, wider map of the area, and you actually see the two mountain ranges, uh, the smaller mountain ranges, and he points down to where would be the accurate represent. Like yours is zoomed up or zoomed in. This is like way zoomed way out, and he finds the appropriate spot. And with his index of his left finger, he points to the appropriate spot where the tomb is. And with his pinky, he places his pinky on where you guys are currently encamped. And he says, "This is what this looks like, if your notes are correct."
I regard the map and my drawing. That looks the same to me. And I say, bodies of trolls. Eh, here, here,
He nods.
and then
He looks at your notes rather admiringly. And he says, "Who taught you how to read?"
Was part of our upbringing. We had teachers. We also had a goblin slave who helped out.
Oh, I see. Goblins are an educated people. That you had a It's fortunate you had a goblin slave when in your upbringing. That's actually very fortunate for you. Excellent. Is this goblin still alive?
When I left the village, he was.
Is he quite old?
Yes.
Well, if not, then I hope he passed in his sleep. He did a good job teaching you how to draw maps. Well done. But I want you to stick to this sorcerer. I want you to don't take orders from him, but travel with him. He has his own task, and he looks over at the throne with the cloth on it. And it's going to be quite a task. And his voice just kind of trails off. Thorondin, the king, catches Thibon's eye from across the room. And the two of you exchange a glance, and a lot is exchanged in that glance. Thibon is quite prodigiously old, even still considered quite young for his people. But in your many travels before, you were a high priest. When you were an itinerant minor priest, it was a handful of times that you had met at the time, young prince, now an elderly king. And some 40 to 50 cycles has passed, which to Thibon is quite, and that's a few days. For him, it is a lifetime. And he just nods to you. He says nothing. His eyes are full of sympathy. And he just nods. And he says, "What?" He calls from across the pavilion. "What may I call you now, sorcerer?"
Thibon will, when they had that look, he'll give a nod, out of respect and whatnot. And when he asks, Thibon will actually stand there for a second. He'll kind of straighten himself up, put that staff in his hand a little bit more firmly. But then he like gets that faraway stare again. And I'm guessing somewhere in the back of his mind, in the back of his subconscious, is actually where his new name is going to burst forth from and come hither to the front. But yeah, it takes like a minute or two, and the king and Ganar might well think he went off the rocker again during this. Quite possible. But then he'll kind of blink and he'll get his, basically, I'm back in this world again, look to him. And he'll look at the king and be like, Tybin. My name is now Tybin.
He nods and he bows respectfully, and Queen Fetef of the Umbriads, being thy dead, since Orncath is no longer with us, she is by right of might and conquest at this time the highest ranking of the Fey nobility, stands in her armor, breathtakingly beautiful and horribly intimidating, encased in ebon.
Step on me, Dami Mommy.
Oh my god, yes. Oh fuck yes. Oh my god. Oh yeah. She stands and she shoots a hail of daggers at the other Dawn Fairfolk who seemingly are fucking ignoring you. And she says, "We recognize the sorcerer Thibon in this multifaceted court of the Fae." And she shoots like a side look to Thorondon and mortals, as she's not used to having humans present when she holds court. She's really not. And there's like a pregnant pause between she like acknowledges him, not used to having humans around. And the king, Thorondon, just kind of like he with this almost Santa Claus type jovialness and uh uh the the youthful grandpa, I'm gonna call it. He just kind of shoots a he gives her like the side eye, but there's like a playful twinkle and a wink there as he kind of like behind his iron gray beard, he smiles. And she kind of just like shoots a look at him. And she's like, "Yeah." Like she like half sneers at him, but like again daggers on essentially your people as they all like they stop their side conversations. They're like, oh, we're being addressed right now. To make a historical reference, Mike, I don't know if you'll get this reference, but I'm pretty damn sure Terry will. Charlemagne. Charlemagne was an incredibly powerful ruler, just killing and fucking and conquering his entire life, formulating what we had super early medieval France at the time, back when they were called Franks. But when Charlemagne passed away, Charlemagne's sons, history will will remember Charlemagne's sons, of which if I remember correctly, he had several, but they were all fucking useless. Orncath dies, and all these lesser kings, some of them are really good, some of them are really good at what they do, excellent commanders and warriors. Other ones are just, you have power only because your lands are fertile and you're good administrators, but you're not a sorcerer, you're not a warrior, you're just really slick with your dealings. And some of these guys to get to separately, they're weak, horrible, and that I'm making that reference here. Orncath could keep his people in line because he was an excellent warrior, an excellent administrator, and as it turns out, the Atlantean equivalent of the Mycenaean Achilles slew him and got his goat, did him in, and now again the Dawn Fairfolk in the Woodland Kingdoms are going to be an absolute mess. So these lesser kings, maybe some of them are strong, but the majority of them individually easily conquerable, and some of the more respectable ones will salute Thybin, uh, give him a proper salute, and others will just whisper amongst themselves conspiratorial and superstitiously. Uh, there's about a half dozen there, six or eight, and some of them give you the respect you deserve, some of them don't, and some of them are very reserved. So Thybin gets a very mixed reaction from his own people, which I'm gonna leave to Thybin's player to navigate that. But Feta, she uh, calls down the daggers of the underworld, and her being a uh, stomp on your throat type of ruler herself. She doesn't take shit from anybody, and that's why Umbriads are not liked in the West. Not at all. And not for nothing, they are the most powerful of the Fae militarily at this time in history. Um, but the scene there quiets down, and the two of you are dismissed, and Thorondon, the jovial, youthful spirit, uh, leaves him as he uh, gives Gunnar a uh, a meaningful pat on the back, and a well done. You do your village and your people proud. Stick to him. He has a task.
Sire, Sire, I have one more thing. It may be of no concern or interest, but within the tomb there were corpses. As I found the wizard, uh, the the corpses had red skin and dark armor. And then I produced the broken hilt that I had picked up. It was a jeweled hilt of that black metal, but the sword had been broken. And I give it to Rondon. I I've never seen anything like this before.
The king doesn't say anything as you place the sword on the table. He just picks up the sword, or what's left of it, uh, turns it over in his hand, and uses it as a very large paperweight on the maps and documents on the table. And he says, stick to Thybin. That is all that I have for you.
Understood. And I dismiss. Back to Thybin.
You guys can role play amongst yourself in this encampment. I gotta pee quick. Be right back.
Right.
Actually, I'm gonna grab some peanuts too.
I
All right, I'm back now.
think we're still waiting on Terry. As an
Nice.
aside, Tybin would give a deep bow uh to the Umbriad Queen. He wouldn't actually say anything, but he would have that look of, thank you for acknowledging me type of look. Um, as for the others that are either running their mouths or simply just looking at him, at the moment, to be honest, they don't really concern him. Um, he's not going to worry about him. If he is able to speak before they are ushered out, he would ask how his king died.
Oh well, she, um, Fetef, was not on the same part of the field as he was at the time, but uh, he was slain in single combat by one of their captains, the captains of the Sea People, and an individual, a warrior named Myos, or formerly known as Va Myos, and he he was essentially drug away uh, that evening when the fighting had stopped for the night, as they do not they tend to not fight at after dark.
He'll thank her, bow again. Um, and unless Gunnar needs something else and they've been dismissed, he'll probably leave to try to find more suitable clothing as well as some food.
Ivan, I know where the supply tent is, and my king has given me orders, and those orders are that your mission is my mission.
He won't say anything outwardly, but he gets that look of, oh, I hope you survive longer than the others did. All right. Let's go get something to eat, though.
This way. And I direct him to the supply tent where I was provisioned before. Look for the same female administrator.
You guys are given food, uh, but as you are taking your meal that afternoon, uh, Thibin has a rush, a something speaks to him from some outer source. The the ritual sites that uh, you discovered literally a lifetime ago, being the linchpin for this greater conspiracy, and you never actually dispelled the one that you'd found in the swamp. You know that there are others, and to unravel this greater sorcery, you need to destroy all 5 of them. And that would need to be your next step.
So Tybin gets that. I think it's probably like when he's in the middle of eating or something, so he probably like stops like mid bite and just zones out again. Um, like he knows what he needs to do, But he also knows, and he knows time is of the essence. It's always been of the essence. But he does need today to try to just get everything back on straight. And he'll look at Gunnar and be like, can you get me a meeting with them again, with the kings and the queens?
I can try, but it would help if we had a reason to speak. What should I say?
I don't think the initial ritual site we had found ever got, for lack of a better word, it ever got shut down. That's something that was supposed to have happened chains ago. But either we were not taken serious enough or it failed. So I need to speak with them about if that ever got touched and if there has been any more. I need to know if any other artifacts have been taken or not. And we need to find out if any more magical energies have been coalescing somewhere. Because there's 5 major sites, but I knew where one was. And I think I had an inkling of where the second one was, but we never got that far. But it's fuzzy at the moment. For some reason I see mountains though. For another one. But anyway, I need to speak with them after, and he'll kind of look down at his dress, like his state of dress, like after I get myself properly cleaned up and properly rested. And then we must make post haste, because as said before, every moment we take is another moment he gets closer to what he wants to do.
See what they'll provision you with. I'll go back to the leader's tent and see if I can pass along a message. I will suggest that they send for us when they're ready.
Yeah. I'm assuming you probably point me in the direction of like where to get non-food stuff.
The next pavilion over in
Of course.
the supply depot.
Okay.
You guys are basically eating with the rest of the troopers right now.
Right. But he's still in the snow leopard pelt and the garb of the dead, so I'm sure he's getting plenty of looks.
You're welcome.
Right. I'm surprised, Terry, you gave up your loot to a dead guy. He needs some clothes. He's gonna be he needs to be decent.
I might not know the word hypothermia, but I know hypothermia.
Right.
It was
There's a word for something like that.
You're right.
It was in my best interest to keep this this guy alive. So
Wouldn't that be a hell of a thing? A winter sect hierophant dying to hypothermia.
You well, I shouldn't actually say anything. I'm not gonna reveal that to you. But you go next door.
I will head back to the leader's tent.
Okay.
What I'm looking for is some type of, I imagine they have clerks or messengers or some type of lower level attendants.
Yeah, there are attendants, messengers, pages, all sorts of staff running all over the damn place.
Okay.
You could certainly speak to one of the honor guard outside. Currently, there are a pair of Umbriad individuals, guardsmen, heavily armored and armed at the door, and they are more than happy to. Well, one of them goes inside to inform one of the heralds within that one of the mortals has an appointment or requests an appointment with his liege. But in the supply tent, Thibin is reunited with one of the gals, the administrator. I actually did not give her a goddamn name. I forgot about her. But I'm gonna say you pleasantly remember her. She's not one of your people, but she had networked with your people and the coalition forces quite a bit in your previous lifetime. You two catch up after a few minutes and issues you clothes, and quickly you are garbed out like a typical fairfolk trooper with leather breeches, boots, and everything of those accoutrements. As a priest of the Silent Monolith, you are not able to wear bronze, but because bronze is not natural, it is it's an alloy. She can give you copper arms and armor, but your regalia was somehow lost in the transition of things. Lost in the time the time between. She can, however, give you a sword made of fey iron, but beyond that, she is unable to replace the majority of your regalia from a previous life.
The only thing he would say is he would ask if she had a spear instead, as he is not versed in sword.
Would you like a copper spear?
If that's all you got.
She gives you a coat of copper, scale mail, a copper spear, and surprise, surprise, some copper greaves to go over your boots. Where are you keeping Ghost Owl's staff? Do you still have that, or did you give it back to Ghost Owl before you left?
I don't think I saw Ghost Owl before we left. Because I'm assuming he's the one that came in doing the acrobatics and shattered the one body.
No, that was actually the monk. The
Oh,
monk
okay.
that kicked Barrel in the head.
Oh, okay. No,
But you would have had the opportunity to leave it in the tomb where you put your previous traveling companions. If you really wanted to leave it or put it back, your previous regalia, like your staff and everything else, is gone.
right.
It really would not be proper for a sorcerer of your status to be wielding a spear, because that is not what you do. But
But that's
that
what I
is
had for weapon training because that was the closest thing to a staff. So that's why
it's
he
up
has.
it's up to you, but keep
Um,
that in mind. Uh now,
but no, as for Ghost Owl's staff, No, he was so concerned about seeing the open air and the revelation and everything that he actually completely forgot to put it back. So he still has it on him.
Well, you did actually go back inside. What I'm saying, you did have the opportunity. It's if you just decided not to, it's up to you. There
Right.
really wouldn't be any forgetting there because you guys went outside, saw the corpses when you went to bed down, and then
Mhm.
you guys went to entomb them. So you could have gone back and you actually did go back
That's right.
inside. I'm saying,
And you did say we went all the way back down too. So
yes,
right.
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, no, in that case, yeah, since they went all the way back down to where he was entombed, then yes, he would. If
Okay.
Ghost Owl was not there for him to actually hand it back to him, he actually would probably put it back where he had been laying.
Okay. All right. Uh, okay. With that, then we go back to Gunnar. Gunnar is in fact summoned into the tent. Uh, it seems that Fetef and Thorondin are the only two that are in there currently. The fair folk, lesser kings, have been or well dismissed themselves to do what other tree spirit fae do. Uh, the floor is yours, sir.
And I address the Rondon, sir, my king. I've been asked to pass a message that the wizard that I brought you wants to have audience, has information about ritual circles and artifacts and other things I don't understand, but said it was imperative that he speak with you at your earliest convenience.
Thorondon looks across the table at the Fae Queen there, and she gives him and then you a very sharp look, and she says, "Yes, bring him here right now."
As you will, immediately. And I go
And
up and
as
search.
as you leave, uh, the last thing that you hear is her saying to Thorondon, "I thought that information was lost," and then the tent flap closes.
And I book up back to the supply tent area where I last left him.
Ivan is belting on a new belt over his copper scale armor, uh, and has a spear waiting on a table nearby. Uh, he looks significantly better now, garbed and ready for travel, with a full pack uh, of provisions, a new cloak. Your snow leopard pelt is folded nicely on the table there, and again, the scene is yours.
Wizard, you're looking better now. Better than a shroud you've been wearing.
Mm-hmm. Call me wizard again. I'm going to start calling you child.
We've got an audience. They want me to summon you as fast as possible.
As they command.
I snap up the snow leopard pelt. Are you sure you don't need this?
No, you can have it back. Thank you, though. It was quite nice.
And
It's a little too luxurious for him right now.
He's a simpler man after simpler things.
Back at the command tent.
yes, as quickly as possible.
You are just you're ushered right inside immediately without waiting. And the War Queen of Fetev, very insistently, with a look of surprise and with excitement, actually. No, I closely guarded excitement, I'll say, uh, underneath the surface. And she goes, "So, you remember.
Is there a
Tell
map
us
in the
what
room?
well, yeah, there's a huge map in the center of
Okay,
the room on
it's
the war
actually
table.
okay. It is in here.
Yeah, they don't put that away. That's just like a permanent fixture of
Okay,
the
okay.
chamber.
Um, I'm yeah. As she's like asking him, basically spill the information. He'll go over to the map and he'll actually locate the swamp that had the henge where they found the first ritual site. And he'll point it out, mark it, whatever he needs to. And he basically pointed at it, like, was this ever taken care of?
The rest of the fair folk did not believe you, but I sent a handful of scouts there, and they did confirm uh, a month ago that the henge still stood. They didn't tamper with it, but when you disappeared, we've kept an eye on it. Do you know what to do now?
It needs to be taken down.
Well,
That is one of five. I'm sure your scout saw the little sites around the henge.
of
The
course.
henge is one of five of a bigger site. If he gets all five of those going, I don't know what's going to happen, but it's not going to be good.
She just nods. So, are you going to dispel it then?
I can try. I do not know if I alone am powerful enough to take it down. I know we tried change ago when we first stumbled across it, but we did not know what it was or the mastermind behind it.
Blink, blink. Yeah, right.
But with the knowledge I have, I can attempt. And for a second, he's actually going to hold up his left hand, and Gennard's going to see this. He's missing his ring finger. I wish I still had them. They could have helped. I don't know where the other ones are, though. Has your scouts found any other henges? Have we had any other reports of magical artifacts being taken? Any other Fae being slain? Any other tomb? Because they wanted a what was it? They wanted a sword out of that tomb, I think. He's gathering power. We find where the power is being taken from. Maybe we can get a step ahead of him. And I really would. And is there a window? I'm assuming there's windows in this tent pavilion room thing that we're in.
Like, what do you mean windows?
Something
It's a
to where I can
tent.
point outside. I didn't.
The
Well,
the door, the tent
okay,
flap is still open slightly.
okay. Which one is facing toward the Atlanteans? Let me put it that way.
There isn't one.
Okay. He's going to point in the directions that that fleet is in. I wish we can get through their thick skulls that they are being played.
This is news to her. And she says, "How are the sea people being played?"
And Dukaga has their wind deity. He's the reason they can't go home.
She just looks at Thranda and she says, "Is that what they're on about?" And he just goes, I think I would be pretty upset if I needed the wind to sail and that as he like says it out loud, like half sarcastically, and the more he talks, the more it makes sense, and he just kind of goes, "Oh,
He has them convinced that we are to blame for her being gone. I do not know if she is dead. I hope to all of the deities that she is not dead. But
Rondon just he scratches his beard and he says that is insidious."
the war with them is nothing but a ploy to keep us away from him.
And with them harrying us, we're not looking in his direction, but at the aggressors. And Fetif finishes the sentence while he works in the shadows. Absolutely masterly. And she just nods. And she sits down in her throne and says, "Well, he's had me. I had no idea until you sent me a messenger a cycle ago." And she looks at Thorondon and actually bats her eyelashes at him. And he shrugs. And we can tell the fair folk about this, but they're not going to believe uh a previously dead Hierophant, and they have their own issues to be dealing with now that Orn Cath is gone. But he continues, he looks at Thaiben and he says, "I think your authority here." Terry, you're vibrating again. I don't know where you have your phone on your desk, but it vibrates through your speaker and into our headsets.
Am I on mute right now, though?
no,
No, you're not.
Okay.
the one time
I
he
was
doesn't
under
have
the
the curse of the mute, right?
You're
I
right.
was under the impression that every time because it tells me you've been muted.
Oh no, no. Normally it tells you you're muted if you do it in Zoom. Sorry to completely break immersion. When I'm narrating and you get a text, I'm like, well, God damn it.
Sorry.
Anyway. Uh
The
so
fair folk won't listen. They have their own problems.
right. But Thorondon continues. He goes, "I think since your people have returned to where they're supposed to go, I do not know the customs of your people nor your grove,
It's not my grove anymore.
but I think your I think you take orders from the War Queen here now, or you take your own orders." And he just looks at her. She looks at him, looks back at you, and says, "What is your plan?"
I'm hoping if we get rid of at least one of these ritual sites, my hope is it will completely disrupt whatever he is trying to do. He is way too deep into this to not have something to fall back on if one of these falls. Or he might be so full of himself that he doesn't think one of these can fall. Either way, we have to make this fall so it at least postpones him. The other thing I would like to do is we need to stop him from getting any more items of power. However, I do not have the ability to know where any more are for where he might be going. This is also why I asked if any more Fae have been killed, because apparently that's how this started, because he killed the King of Autumn and took his crown.
Well, the king's eyes go wide. That's what happened? And it's just
you didn't know?
he just nods and says that's why the seasons don't change anymore.
God, why that?
And he goes, I was told that I was told when I was young that the seasons of Arklenar are long, but they're no more than 8 or 9 cycles long. I have known autumn my entire life. And that and then he pauses and he just kind of like stumbles over himself, looking at the Fae in the room, and he says, "What was the world like before?" And it dawns on you that there are people who have been born who don't know what spring, winter, or summer, spring, winter, or summer look like, or feel like, or have ever seen it. People have lived their entire life in a state of autumn. And Fetev goes on to explain that, well, winter is as the stories say, and spring is in my home in the east. It is beautiful, full of flowers. The seasonal storms on the sea are not too harsh. Summer is always filled with wildflowers and butterflies and beauty on the surface, but we live beneath the mountains, beneath the ground. It is beautiful in a different way beneath the earth. And she, I think, is this very wistful, remembering air about her. She says, no, but for the seasons to pass, there needs to be a monarch to wear a crown of that season to sit on the throne that allows time to pass in a cycle, as well as the seasonal cycle. And if a monarch does not sit on that throne, time cannot pass. Yes, of course, Zabraxian rises and then slumbers as normal, but the season cannot continue. The season stops as if in a state of stasis. And again, there's like an almost 60 or almost 70 cycle man who has known nothing but autumn his entire life. And there's a young mortal in the room who has only known autumn his entire life. Knowing what like green grass, wildflowers, essentially April showers bring May flowers type of nursery rhyme being described to you by these Fae who have prodigiously long lifespans. It dawns on you that this is a terrible supernatural situation that you guys are in. And again, the conspiracy that has been that Gunnar has been kind of like has a pretty that inkling Like a hunch, an inkling turns into a hunch, and that hunch is like, oh, there's something up here. Until in this moment, in this tent, right now, in your life, this is real life happening right now. This shit is a horrible, nightmarish situation, and there's an evil sorcerer has the power to do this sort of thing. Holy fuck, this is big.
And Gunnar is not an unintelligent person. He's above average intelligence, and but the concepts and the names being tossed around, all he's trying to do is keep his mouth shut, not ask any questions, and take it all in. But it's almost like story tales at this point.
Wait until
You're
you see a
living a
leaf
literal
fall.
fairy tale. Yeah.
Wait until the day you get to see a leaf fall again. If we get to see a leaf fall again. Uh he will turn he'll turn to the War Queen. How many know of the primordials?
A handful of my scouts, some of my personal staff, everyone in this room, and about 100 of my personal staff back home.
Do they know the precautions? Because if we start dealing with him, he's going to come to bear and he will bring them in. Do they know the precautions?
I have told everyone to keep their activities and their knowledge to absolute secrecy uh, until we know more. I got a dispatch from back home about 6 chains after your party had left, saying that there was a coven of witches that were dealing with whalebone rituals on the coastline back in the Ebon Vale. And when she says that, you get this like, oh, fuck, on the other side of the continent, geographically. And she says, I would start there. If this conspiracy is as potent as we now think it is, this is not a local threat. She stands up from her throne, walks over to the table, and places her index finger on the ritual site in the swamp, and she says, "Dismantle this first, and then head back east and deal with those witches." As you head back east, I would pay the Astromancer another visit. You might wish to inform you that you are back amongst the living again. And she winks at you.
Third time's the charm.
She shrugs. I think this is obvious, but I will advise you anyway. Travel in secret. Stay off the roads. You're not to be seen while you do this. If he is as powerful as we believe, then he cannot know that you have returned. Because something can happen to you the same that happened to Shihan.
And he'll get that look of she just had to fucking bring that one up, didn't she?
Well,
Ukiah never did forgive himself for that.
and he perished in grief because of it.
Remember,
Uh,
don't burn. Just remember. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Out of character, you're going to have to explain to Gunnar what happened because he has no idea who the hell Shihan or Ukion is or
Uh,
are.
does uh does the king get that perplexed look on his face, or does he know already?
You get the impression that she has informed him of everything that he knows. Uh, you get the impression that Fulgareth, the High King of the Arborians, who is not present, he is mustering all of his legions to march on the Tarandine to stick it to the sea people, as well as his mammoth cavalry when they arrive, uh, to have a three-pronged front. Uh, you get the impression at least the nobility knows what's going on.
Okay.
Uh, Thorondin probably knows the least, but for an old man, he's pretty goddamn sharp, and he's learning very quickly.
Just remember, if you come across any primordials, don't burn the bodies. Don't breathe in the smoke if they get burned. The blood is caustic.
Good to know. Good to know.
Learn that firsthand. This would have been so much easier if they would have just believed me before.
Mistakes were made. Now it is time to clean up the mess. As she goes to sit back down in her throne, she walks over, turns around very gracefully, and sits down. Have you spoken with the Pike Lord since you have returned?
No, I have not found a place suitable to find him yet.
Well, the young Prince Phenelon, now known as the Pike Lord, I believe, still remains in his realm. We did find something out that I am, uh, fortunately and unfortunately, I am the one to tell you. Phenelon's father, Avernale, was the King of Autumn. If you were to find the Crown of Autumn, technically, the young Pike Lord is the heir to the Crown of Autumn. Should he wish to take up the Crown of Autumn, that is up to him. But Avernale, we did not know that Avernale was actually the king. Mostly the lords and ladies of the seasons are kept unknown and they do not inhabit the realm of the living. But I know somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody else, and she, with a very graceful finger, touches her perfect nose, knows who to ask to request the information of the Pike Lord, and I can say that he is well and in his realm, and it was actually Phenelon's father, Avernale, who was the king of Autumn.
I'll have to give him my condolences when I speak to him again.
Phenelon is inconsolable. His mother died recently of the plague as well.
Of course.
You have two errands. I should say, you have two meetings and an errand, sorcerer. And the road calls to you. You have my permission to take whatever you need.
Thank you. And
Thorondon catches Gunnar's eye and nods to him and says the same. And of course, any spoils of war pillaged from the enemy is clearly a young warrior's prerogative to police. Again, that almost Father Christmas like twinkle in the king's eye, and he smiles from behind his beard. Ithnikai being mortals of an advanced state of barbarism and education with metallurgy and alphabet, still deep down in their culture, are a raiding culture.
Understood,
uh,
Your Majesty.
Tybin he'll give a bow to each. He'll give a second deeper bow to the queen. And if he is done there, he will excuse himself.
Back outside in the encampment, the road and the world seemingly opens up before you as you have a colossal task laid before you. Gunnar, you have become a bodyguard for a sorcerer that is half forgotten and half not respected by his own people, but is rumored to be immensely powerful in and of himself. And the two of you together can form a united front as representatives of the mortals of the coalition forces, as well as the Fae of the coalition forces, fighting against two enemies, the Sea People and whoever this primordial menace is.
I turn to him and say, I have so many questions, but I also understand that this is not the time to ask them. So
You can ask on the road. What is the time of day right now?
About 4 o'clock in the evening. It's getting on towards dusk currently.
Okay. What does Gunnar have for equipment again? Just like basic arms and armor.
yeah, I'm gonna say if you call it basic adventuring gear, arms and armor, and then whatever whatever rations you had seen, like his pile of rations, like he was expected to be gone for months. But obviously found you a lot sooner, shared what rations we had. So I'm guessing maybe I still got 2 months worth of rations left.
Oh, you guys have plenty of food between the two of you. Holy shit.
Right?
Plus the things that have been issued to Thybin. I mean, you guys have close to 6 months worth of provisions.
You use a two-handed sword, right?
War sword. So it
A
could
war
be
sword.
single-handed or double-handed.
Okay.
It's a
I'm just
hand
saying.
and a half sword.
I'm just thinking because the supply lady offered me a Fey iron sword, but I don't use swords. So I was trying to see if that would be an upgrade to you, but I don't know if she has a hand and a half version.
That's a broadsword that she tried giving you.
Yeah. So it would just be a
And
single-handed.
and on horse, you've seen that he carries a Ithnakai spear, but you haven't seen him use it yet. It's just something that's been strapped to the horse so up to this point.
Right. Um, yeah, I guess he's not going to want to leave when it starts to turn dark. He figures they're going to leave at first light. Um, he'll go back to the supply tent. He'll request a horse. They already got food enough, of course. He'll request, the basic adventure kit, bedroll, flint and steel, or whatever they have for fire starter stuff. Um, rope. God damn it, we need rope sometimes. And we can hash that out later too. But yeah, just basically all the necessities as well as a horse. Because Gunnar already has one, and he's not going to walk this. They're going to go. You need to go a little bit faster than that.
Ivan
I used
has horsemanship, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Between here and the swamp, it's basically just straight travel, right? There's like no water or anything in between us, no mountains in between us.
No, just follow the Tarandine to the coast. You'll find it.
Okay. All right, so I don't have
It's
to worry.
like following the Mississippi.
Yeah,
Uh,
right.
yeah, if you're blind and stupid, you won't find it. It's a fucking huge river. It's something that they used to divide kingdoms with. It's a
Right.
big ass waterway.
I couldn't remember the map in my head. That's why I'm asking.
No,
Which of
the
course,
mountains are north to you, and uh, the Great Divide, mountain range that divides east to west. Uh, it's about 3 weeks to uh, it's about 3 weeks following the river south to the mangrove swamp. From there, if you follow the coastline, about a month of traveling, you'll find your way back to the Woodland Kingdoms. About 4 more weeks, you will cross the Woodland Kingdoms to find the wooded side of the Great Divide, up and down over the mountains. About another month, given if the weather is shit. Because it still snows up there because it's cold as fuck.
right.
And up and down on the other side, you'll find yourself in the east, where the primitive ancestors of the Calitherians are currently living. Hooray! The proto horse lords,
Yay.
right?
Does she also? I don't know if they do, but does she have
Which she?
the supply lady that we never gave a
Yes,
name
yes,
to?
yes, 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 yes.
Um, does she have things for a healer or apothecary to start with? The cauldrons, needles, stuff like that, or is that in short supply?
Uh, nothing on the level that Haraka had before he passed away.
I just need something so I can start making poultices again. Because right now I have nothing regarding apothecary.
She can give you a mortar and pestle and a copper bowl.
Okay,
You're gonna have to go foraging on yourself.
I'll have to
Keep
find
in
some.
mind the healing implements are different. Look in the rule guide for it.
Yep.
Healer's implements.
Yep, that's what I was looking at.
You're gonna have to build your own kit.
Okay, so she doesn't have any cauldrons then?
No,
No, okay, that's fine. I'll
cauldrons
take.
are kind of fucking huge.
Yeah, right. Okay, we'll manufacture something eventually, or I'll find one of the two. All right. Um, I'll actually look at Gunnar and be like, "Do you think we'll be okay on horseback, or do you think we actually need a cart for this?" No, we can't use a cart. They want us to travel quiet. Cart's going to be too conspicuous. Yeah, we'll just have to make do with horses.
I heard swamp. That's probably not good for cart.
Yeah, but swamp's kind of the first end stage. Yeah,
Turnips.
we'll make do. We'll make do with horse. No, not turnips. No.
Arian found sitting in the back of the cart, uncomfortable, with moldering turnips under his ass and laying on a bag of turnips. In the rain, in the cold, between wherever the fuck Faldor's farm is and that butt fuck horrible awful village of Doreen.
Meanwhile, the
Fucking
whole time, Pole's
turnips.
bitching about being out in the rain.
Woman, you can change the fucking weather.
Okay.
Quit your bitching.
No, but yeah,
Sorry, excuse me. Paul
right.
girl, we love you. Sorry.
her, her and Dami Mommy just
Yes.
sorry. No, but yeah, horse, basic necessities to travel with. Don't really need anything too excessive, hopefully. If not, we'll pick it up on the way. Did they, being the king and queen, did they give us anything for monetary starting or trade supplies?
Monetary. Your money? Yeah, no.
Okay.
If you want, well, fuck, here, hang on, dude.
I've got 22 silver pieces from my travels.
Right.
Minted in a strange fashion.
Yeah, right.
Oh, what? No,
I found them.
right, that too.
I mean, otherwise, is there a supply that's been like a high trade good lately that we could take some extra of in case we need it?
Oh my God. Um, well, you guys are issued a dozen buckskins,
Ooh, there you go.
furs, using furs. And wool blankets. We'll say 6 wool blankets because it's so goddamn cold outside. Those might actually get you, well, either keep you cold or you can get plenty of mileage out of them.
Right.
She also issues you a bronze cautery medal for cauterizing wounds.
Ooh. There you
It's
go.
probably the fanciest thing for your medical kit, too.
Right, right.
But you're also uh, issued a an antediluvian striped stallion, a steed, similar breed to Gunnar's horse.
Okay.
Stripes on the legs, kind of like a mottled brown dun color with dark stripes. He is quite a young stallion, but he is trained to carry a rider. He is about half trained. He was supposed to be used as a war horse for a lancer, but the lancer died about a chain ago, and his handler obviously could not complete his training. And so you have a mount that is partially trained that you can use your own beastcraft on to hopefully teach him a thing or two. Friendly, spry, agile, and quick to uh put things together, but he can bear a rider. He's just a little skittish when it comes to fighting. Uh he also has the implements for a primitive saddle, which means a couple blankets and 2 saddlebags strapped across his back. There's really not much in the way of saddle, and stirrups have not been invented yet.
You're right.
One thing you
Very,
can ask
very.
about is that I got from supply before that so far we haven't used is the wineskin.
Oh, yes, the Metheglin. Yeah, it is a basically a primitive wine that is laced with a painkiller. That'll what that does is gives you a +1 bonus to not a +1 bonus, excuse me. It negates a -1 penalty when you are healing. If you're using the painkiller while you're supposed to be taking a penalty to something if you're injured, that sort of thing. Like on skill tests and such like.
The only thing that Vinar really restocks on is the torches that he used, and also restocks on writing materials because those can come in handy.
Gonna have a very, very extensive journal by the end of this adventure. Terry, as a player, do you take notes?
I do. I've got down obviously equipment,
Okay.
and then I take
Or
down names and kind of backgrounds.
okay.
Um,
I wasn't quite sure if that was your play style because I keep a character journal. For when I play, I keep a character journal that kind of reads as a semi, not an autobiography, but as a short story for the campaign from the
yeah,
character's perspective.
not quite that detailed, but I make sure that I write down Thorondon, the king. I was never really introduced to the War Queen, so I never really caught her name, but like making sure that I understood where the Sun Crest was where I pulled him from, and the haunted tomb. Um, yeah, and the rest of the future mission, Gunnar is just chomping at the bit to get away from earshot to get the background. Like I said, he was paying attention, but it was just all going right over his head.
Mm,
Uh, I kind
that's
of
totally
get
fine.
this, and I kind of understand this, but
And there's going to be plenty of traveling here, so you're gonna get all of that information that you need. Uh, is there anything else that you guys want to do before you guys, suppose, put your characters to bed before you guys get out on the trail?
Uh, Thinking about it, he actually would have asked for paper and something to write with as well.
I'm just gonna say you guys got all of your supplies that you need. I'm talking
Okay.
about actual meaningful shit for the campaign to continue.
Oh, sorry. No, after we get supplies and no horses on the way, um, he is going to get uh probably gonna get dinner if it's being served. Um,
Yes.
and oddly, he's actually going to ask. Um, Fish wasn't being served by chance today, was it? At all today or lately?
No, they recently killed a nice fat boar.
Oh, okay,
There's no fish recently, no.
okay. I need to get my hand on some fish bones later. Um,
Okay.
making needles. But anyway, no, he'll eat. And then, if possible, he'll actually see if he can get himself some way of a bath or whatnot to, properly clean up and, get the rest of the stragglies out. Um,
You can
after,
bathe in the river.
close enough. Um, Besides that, the last thing he's going to do before actually bedding down for the night before they get off in the morning is, um, he's actually, and I don't know if you want me to do an occult for this, but he's actually going to extend his will to try to find a tree that speaks to him.
That's easy. I'm not even gonna make you fucking roll for it. Remember that tree from the the earlier portion of this campaign? The one whose spirit seemed like it's a little girl, and you just kept hearing like a little girl crying. It was like a yew tree that was trying to drop its leaves,
I think
but
so.
but she couldn't. And that tree is still there on the hill, adjacent to the camp.
Okay. Uh, I'll see what Ganar's up to, but then I'm going to tell him that I am going to take a moment to himself, and I'm going to go up to said tree. Uh, and basically, I'm going to say hello again. Sorry, I missed you. I'll actually, if she's willing to listen, I will actually fill her in on me, I guess, for the past couple chains. Um, Tell her that we are trying to get this fixed so she can finally drop her leaves and move on.
Sorry, a yew tree is actually an evergreen.
Evergreen,
I
okay.
I forgot about that. I didn't think it was.
Um, but
But
I'm
still, that it doesn't change the fact that time
isn't
does
moving
not.
right, yeah.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I'm telling her about myself, and then I'm trying to like reassure her of fixing this, and basically tell her, hey, I haven't thought about you type of thing. Um, but I'm also going to ask her if I don't know how to word this to not be like disrespectful almost. Um, I want to basically ask her if she is able to shed a branch or a piece of herself or know of a tree close by that can to enable him to uh, shape a staff from, so that one, she could, maybe see the world a little bit, but two, because it would actually help him do what he needs to do.
Well,
And he doesn't want to just go rip one off a tree, of course. That's why he's asking if she has, you know, a piece of her that's, maybe damaged or, came off at one end or something. So he could take without actually damaging her.
well, in a way that trees would communicate, not in words, but in feelings. She does not know how, but you can take one of her branches. She doesn't know any other trees because she's the only one near here. and the one nearest tree that was by the river has been gone for a very long time. Sidebar, this is a tree saying a very long time.
Take that
Because,
back.
right? And a lightning storm hit that tree, and that tree fell into the river. And since then, she has been all alone. Those are the feelings and vibes that you get. She says that you can have one of her branches, but if it hurts a little, then she'll cope with the rest of the hurt.
Okay. Um, I guess he'll. I don't know how like you would actually go about doing this if I that wouldn't hurt. Unless she's able to like find a branch herself that's like not going to be as painful. He's basically going to look for one that's kind of giving way on his own. So it's not as much work, it's not as much strain. Um, but the whole time he'll be like talking to him, giving those feelings back of thank you, trying to make this hurt. We're going to make this better. Like just the reassurance, like every step of the way. Um, I'm guessing I'll find a branch eventually that comes off with barely any work. And I'll take that and kind of hold it protectively in my hand.
Yeah.
And then after getting that from her and thanking her, I'll head back to the camp.
It's getting on towards dusk at this point. As you re-enter the encampment, you walk by your old pavilion that is still there. It's not the other pavilions that would have surrounded yours at the time, again, a lifetime ago, are not there. The carts are not there. The people are not there. But the master's tent is a moderately sized pavilion there of emerald green with its tent flaps closed. It's seen, a bit of disrepair, but whoever has been manning the grounds has been keeping your tent up. A rush of emotions returns to you there as the memories of your grove, maybe some of those memories in the form of apparitions, still walk the area. And the mental image of your chief of staff, Narada, one of the warriors that followed you, who the rest of the grove simply just took to him after you had been begrudgingly deemed not fit to lead because you are not whole. They did not wish to leave you, but tradition is tradition, and those are the rules. Narada took command and he, you know not what happened to him, but he allegedly left, or she took your people, his people, back to the woodlands to set up their grove somewhere as a devoted follower of your grove, now become Hierophant, or not Hierophant, but Archwarden, or at least in this case, a Green Knight of the Grove. How do you two wish to spend the downtime of the rest of this day? And with I'll let you guys narrate the downtime here, and then we will call for closing soliloquies of the night.
After the hot dinner, Gunnar watches to see where he's going to go. And he follows, Tywin at a respectful distance until he sees him squat and once again stare off in the distance at a tree, which seems to be a pretty common practice with this wizard. So staring at him for a while, Gunnar gets bored and is going to go back to where the social activities kind of are in the evening of the encampment and see if he can find that quartermaster female. He's got an allure score of 2, and thought maybe,
all right.
thought maybe he'd pass the evening productively until he makes it back to camp and horse.
Wow.
He definitely wants to make some product.
You're right. Yeah, make me an allure test, Terry.
All right.
Runs off of physique, so
That's a +5.
hell yeah, man. 2d8 plus 5.
Okay. An 8 and a 7 is 15.
Well, the 8 explodes, of course.
15. So 18 plus 5.
23.
God damn, man.
23.
Penny.
Jesus. She she asks you how old you are in amongst the midst amidst this flirting.
Old enough.
And she raises a rather beautiful eyebrow and she says, how old in cycles?
20, 21.
She smiles. Do you want to know how old I am?
Sure. Yes.
987.
How?
I'm a fae. We live for a very long time. Fair folk are ageless, but not immortal.
My next question is, does that matter?
No. I'm of age. Nice. So, Terry, I'm gonna skip past the romantic part and say you guys hook up in the supply tent. She kind of gives you this. We're not fertile with each other, so I'll pass the time. And you guys hook up in basically the fucking utility closet of a military encampment.
Hey, as long as we both have a good time and, I don't have to stick around. I can go back to horse.
Yeah,
And,
right.
Terry's got squeezed into tight places of multiple kinds.
Oh, well. So on one half of the stage, we have a very profound, very emotional homecoming type scene with a sorcerer. And on the other half, we have two young people, one of them significantly older, but still yet quite youthful and flexible. Uh, on the other half, as you two are literally and figuratively gearing up for this pretty epic journey that you have no idea what is in store for you. And it's more than likely a fucking terrible thing you're about to get into, and some incredibly powerful, incredibly dangerous entities you'll be fighting. Uh, so with that, these two scenes, we will start with Thivan. Uh, as you hold the U branch, the unrefined U stave, in your hands, as you're seeing these memories, these apparitions of people that may or may not be dead to you, as well as your relatively unkempt pavilion there. Take us away, brother.
Yeah, so he knows what he wants to do with the branch. He's not going to mess with it now. He's actually probably just going to hold on to it for a little bit. He was anticipating on just going back to his tent and going to bed. But coming across his pavilion, he's actually kind of surprised it's still standing. Especially since everything else is empty. He honestly figured they would have packed it up and gave it to someone else, or used it for storage or supplies or something. So he gets that influx of emotions and memories, and um he decides on a whim to just to go get his pack and his bedroll and stuff, and he's actually going to sleep in the pavilion tonight. It's probably about as close as he would get to his people for quite a long time. So I imagine with how tired he's been last couple of days, he's probably actually going to crash out relatively quickly. But at the same time, until he actually falls asleep, his mind is a buzz with everything going on. The revelations of everything that happened when he was dead, everyone he's lost. He's actually still got kind of like a small adrenaline high from meeting with the king and queen and kind of laying all that out, which seeing their expressions was a lot of it still wasn't known because god damn it, we don't want to believe people because we're assholes. It would be so much easier if the freaking fair folk would have just fucking believed us. But no, we gotta be difficult. um Between that and just thinking of his old grove, of his old coven, sleeping in this pavilion, thinking of the evergreen tree now. Um, he also puts in the mind that he wants to try to find a sapling somewhere to plant next to her, or at least close enough to her, so she has a friend. Um, and then his mind, still in a tumble, goes toward having to go back to this damn swamp and what they have to do, hoping he can do it. Fuck, he hopes he could do it. And what needs to be done, and how am I going to find the pike lure again? How am I going to stumble across the astromancer again? What's going to happen with this coven of witches? Because last time we dealt with a witch, well, a whole lot of shit went sideways. And he actually finally starts like going to the land of Morpheus. Right before he falls asleep, he actually goes bolt upright for a moment. And he said, fuck, I forgot about the lessons. And then falls asleep.
Harry, as Gunnar is at his business, give us a closing soliloquy, as more than likely he's going to return to a tent where they're keeping up the rest of the troopers. A sort of temporary barracks, if you will. Very militaristic, very Spartan, if you will. Take us away, brother.
Gunnar goes stumbling back to his campsite where they're putting us up. Not intoxicated, but kind of intoxicated. Big shit-eating grin on his face. And as he's bedding down for the night, his head is spinning as well. And taking a moment to reflect on all the information that he heard and that he just maybe understands a small sliver of what's going on. Still so many questions spinning around in his head that he knows may not be asked at least presently. He understands a swamp and something needs to be destroyed, and that this is much, much bigger than himself. Much like the way that he was raised, his life is lived at the present. So he's accepted. I will go on with what my king has asked me to do and do it to my best ability. It sounds like they need a destroyer. I will be Gunnar the Destroyer. At this point, seems to have a trusted ally with the wizard, which seems to be a good thing. Everyone speaks highly of him, so that's acceptable. He is a little concerned about the fellow's tendency to space off. So that might be something to watch for and be wary of. But otherwise, he feels good about having a purpose, and he's very proud of himself for the literal pat on the back that he got from the king. So at this point, life is good.
As the two of you bed down for the evening, the faint music of a lyre, some minstrel playing a lap harp somewhere in the encampment outside, lulls the two of you to sleep. Thibin, in his descent down into the realm of Morpheus, you feel something reach out to your mind across an impossible gulf. Almost like a wriggling. It's like holding a tadpole in your hand type of flickering, but on your mind, as opposed to in your hand. A familiar influence, though a powerful one. And a voice that you'd heard a handful of times asks, Silmanos, is that really you? And with that, we will close the session tonight. Thank you for tuning in, everybody. We will be back with session 3 next Friday. Good night, everybody. We'll be back.